Russ.
Ned.
All right, I got a question for you, big bruv.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. If ghosts can beat vampires
No, I don't.
in a game of rock, paper, scissors, then what is the third item in this game?
It's got to be werewolves, right?
I think it's so werewolves beat ghosts, but vampires beat werewolves.
Well, I don't know. I feel like no, because werewolves and vampires are like the competing factions, right? So what is something that could beat a ghost that could get beaten by a vampire?
I was going to say Bill Murray.
Bill Murray? Why?
Yeah, Bill Murray, because he's the Ghostbuster.
Oh,
and
no.
he could definitely get taken out by a vampire, for sure.
Oh, good dad joke. I like that one.
Well, if you can't tell everybody, we're talking about the final episode of season 2, Heat Signature, episode 26.
I can't believe you had an answer for that. Welcome. Welcome, fellow travelers. Adventure Time Podcast. My name's Russell Tyndall, in case you didn't know.
And I'm Ned, DJ Netty P, a.k.a.
We're DJs. We're DJs.
On this podcast. You know, my Shure M7 microphone spinning tracks on the beat. Yeah,
I'm not really a DJ. I don't really have a DJ name, but we're here doing this. It's been fun, man. This is the last episode of this gosh dang season.
I know. It's going to be... Gosh, I'm season 3 is just great. This wasn't a bad season, but I think we're just getting more and more canonical. Ooh. And it's season. I even just flirted out, watched a little bit of season 3 today, and I was like, it starts strong. It starts super strong, man.
Man, you know how I'm feeling, Ned?
How are you feeling?
See if our listeners can hear how I'm feeling.
Oh, is that a little bit of On the Rocks you got over there?
A little bit of On the Rocks I got going on here.
No, nothing beats cartoon shows and booze.
Nope. This is we're adults. It's Thursday night, the college weekend. Ned, why has Marcy never seen Heat Signature? It's such a great movie.
I don't know, man. It's been 1,000 years, obviously, since there was humans around. I would assume that these are humans in the movie Heat Signature. They very much look like humans.
They do.
And she hasn't seen it. And she was part of was she part of Movie Club?
She was a part of Movie Club, yeah.
So in Movie Club, they were watching Heat Signature 3. And then she was like, I've never seen Heat Signature 1. And so
we know this is out of order. Maybe this episode was supposed to come out before Videomaker episode.
I think it was, man. I think it truly was supposed to come out before Videomakers, that this was supposed to be the first reference of Heat Signature. And to top it off, in Videomakers, Finn and Jake decide to not show movies anymore that have the FBI piracy warning on them. And then lo and behold, they're just running to Marceline's house to watch this movie with a group of people. So like they had already sworn that off and now they're back on the game. And I'm like, it doesn't line up.
It does beg the question, is there a sequel that is better than the original movie? Can you think of a sequel movie that maybe you saw first or something you just enjoy more than the original film?
I don't know. There's a couple of them that come to mind. I would say probably the Sherlock Holmes series. But no, that's a given. That's
you can't.
That's a standalone.
Though I think New Hope's better, but still, you can't. We're not debating that.
It's hard to beat Empire for sure.
We're not debating that right now, Ned.
I know. We stay away from the Star Wars on this podcast because we're going to get eaten alive.
Yeah.
I was going to say Sherlock Holmes, Game of Shadows, I think is better than the first one. I was going to say probably in the terms of Tobey Maguire Spider-Man universe, Spider-Man 2 is better than Spider-Man 1.
Oh, fascinating.
That's a good one. And that one stands strong. Spider-Man 2 is great. So
I think some people might say Winter Soldier. I'd never have seen it.
Oh, Winter Soldier is so much better than the first Captain America. But that's hard because that sits with if you consider all the Marvel movies a mixed jumble bag, like they're all kind of sequels of each other, you know?
I think I do think I've tried to watch that one time, but I think I was kissing a girl. So I don't think I really watched it.
Nope. Not at all.
I was, man, I had one when I brought that question up. I had one in mind. Oh, I got it. Predator 2. I've never seen the first Predator movie. So in my opinion, Predator 2 is better than Predator 1, but it
Dude, the
probably
first
isn't.
Predator. Well, maybe that'll be
It's got
on the
Arnold, right?
reviews. Yeah, it's Arnold, and oh gosh, Predator. That was the first rated R movie I ever saw.
Okay, well, I need to go back and watch that. I think also I need to go back and watch that other Arnold movie with the time John whatever Terminator. Jeez,
Yeah,
my mind.
I've only seen Terminator once. You don't want to hear my opinions on it because I'm going to get a lot of hate. It's not that good.
Oh, what?
That's my opinion. Right. That's but I haven't watched the whole series of it all, so I can't speak.
Well, anyways, I can't believe she's never seen Heat Signature. It seems like a quintessential film. It's so funny that Jake and Vin don't even like it.
Yeah.
They're like, can we just get back to the brain sucking thing? Let's kill us.
They're not.
This movie sucks.
They're not liking it because they're sitting on the uncomfortable couch.
No, they're not liking it because the movie sucks, dude.
I guess so. I guess, and I don't know. I thought it was because of the uncomfortable couch, but I don't know. The ghosts love it, and I have a theory on why the ghosts love it.
Oh, give it to me.
So the ghost we have, who was it? It was Boo Boo, Georgie, and what was the third one's name? Oh man, Boo Boo, Georgie, and Wendy are the ghost names. And they love Heat Signature because in the Heat Signature, like when you're watching at the end, what's the guy say? He's like, but I can't read our heat signatures. And then the last little screams like, but I've lost my heat signature. And I'm like, okay, so there's somewhat of these in the movie itself. They're somewhat undead, right? They don't have heat signatures. So I'm like, maybe these ghosts love it because they're like, we don't have heat signatures. And like, we're also the undead. So like, that's why they're really relating. Love it. It's very like M. Night Shyamalan. I see dead people. I'm a ghost the whole time. So like, that's why the undead people love it in the show,
Yeah. I think Finn and Jake just think the movie sucks. And also the couch is uncomfortable. It's just a bad viewing experience, which I think we can all relate to bad movie-going viewing experiences.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't blame them, but it's a shame that Heat Signature doesn't hold up and Heat Signature 3 is such a... I wonder how Heat Signature 2 is.
Yeah. The ever standing question of Adventure Time is, what is Heat Signature 2 about?
Yeah. We actually got a little bit of a clip. And I mean, unfortunately, I have another week where I'm like, I don't really know who my lovely is.
Give me some sugar, baby.
So I'm going to give my lovely to the private. Is that okay? This is another one where I'm like, I'm not fully committed.
I thought the lovely in this one was so obvious.
What? Who?
LSP.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, so LSP gets my tops and my lovely of the episode.
She's kicking it hobo style.
She's kicking it hobo style, but she's on the phone with Melissa and she's like, Melissa, I'm doing so well out here. And like, what did she say? She's like, Karen got in a dress, but she still looks fat. And I was like, dude,
Clara still looks fat.
But she's like, I'm doing so well. I got this can of beans. And she's just like all about the beans. And then when Finn and Jake spill the beans, she's like, my beans.
Okay, and fine.
I'm like, dude, I just love LSP in her state because she is just like, she is power woman. Like she is owning everything she's about. She knows what she's about.
Gossiping. She's gossiping. She's like, I can't see that jump to her face, but she still looks fat.
But that's LSP. She's like anti everything. She's anti everything that's good. Probably the most anti everything that's good, other than like the lemon grab people.
Ooh, okay.
Like I just love that she is all about this lifestyle that she's chosen, and that she's not, this princess that left her princess home in Lumpy Space. And that she's out there like got twigs and dirt all over her, and she's still just like, dude, I'm doing awesome. I got this kind of bands. It's awesome. I'm like, dude, that whole scene is the tops. That's where this episode peaks, in my opinion.
Really, beans in a campfire ain't a bad vibe.
That's not a bad vibe at all, man. Especially like she's just got the top popped, got it over the fire. Like it kind of makes me want to go like make a fire and like see if I can cook some beans in a can, like rough it LSP style.
I think the tops is somewhere in between learning invisibility and the moment where a certain character who we all know and love, and especially me,
Yep. I knew
my
this was
sexy
going to come up.
character,
Sexy
my
character of the
sexy
episode.
character of the episode.
Every Marcy episode.
It's Marceline.
I want to have your baby.
It's because she's very dumb this episode.
Yeah,
and
she is, but it's
I don't know.
I'd say it would be a little bit more appropriately placed had it not come right after Finn's being enamored with Teenage Princess Bubblegum. Again, placement.
I separated it.
Key.
I separated it in my mind, like, especially knowing that this episode was supposed to come out earlier. So I'm watching it. I'm not thinking about that. She's invisible. She slaps because he's like touching her lips or whatever. I'm guessing.
Slaps him.
She slaps him, catches him, spins him up to her embrace. And I'm just like, hubba, hubba.
Hubba.
Oh, Marceline. Do that to me. What?
She know what she's doing.
She knows what she's doing.
Was that in The Sandlot when Wendy Peppercorn is up on the lifeguard stand and they're like,
she knows exactly
she
what
don't
she's
know what
doing.
she's doing. Oh, she knows exactly what she's doing.
Yeah, she knows what she's doing. No, and she knows how to swing dance. Like, that's a swing dancing move. I've done that move. That's a good move.
just spin out.
It's a good move. And no, it's a catch before they hit the ground, spin up to you. And then a spin out. It's a good move.
Right.
It's a good
now,
move.
I was gonna say, I had some most punchable, and obviously the most punchable are all three of the ghosts because they're all assholes. So, but I was gonna say Marcy might be my second most punchable because not only does she get them in this situation, she tries very, very little to get them out. But she's like, vampires lose to ghosts every time. But she could, she could have done something. Obviously, Finn and Jake were just like, dude, Jake's holding the ghost off with like two hands the whole time, and Finn's like punching him and everything. And I was like, dude, Marcy can just turn into an ultra bat. And I don't know, I don't understand maybe the demon lore of ghosts versus vampires, but she's also half demon, so at least half of her could probably kick the shit out of these ghosts,
Maybe. I mean, her vampire kick works. Something that was really cool is Finn tries to do a vampire kick, totally fails. He falls and lands on top of the chandelier, but Marceline does one, and it does stop them momentarily. She is a vampire, but at the same time, her judo chopper vampire kick wasn't quite enough to hold him off because of the rock, paper, scissors thing. What I was going to say is, so I don't know, this whole episode, it's her old gang. It's from the underworld. She was in this gang with Wendy, Boo Boo, and Georgie, right? And so these are her old friends. It's her crew from back in the day. She has this sweet spot, just like, say, with your high school friends or your middle school friends or whatever, the sweet spot for these people that she grew up with. And then she realizes throughout the whole episode slowly, and I think at the end it's just kind of like, hey, I just can't do anything because they would kill me or something. Yeah. But she realizes throughout the whole episode slowly that, hey, this isn't cool. And these are my friends. And maybe y'all aren't my friends anymore. And that is so difficult to do, to grow out of relationships. And I think this episode, she had to do that. She had to grow out of a relationship that matters to her.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you mean. It definitely is a point in Marceline's growth where, she gets over in season 1, kind of gets over being a jerk and starts to befriend people again. And in this one, she is putting another past life, I say past life, but like just an old part of her behind and leaving that behind and being like, these are the people in my life that I care about. Maybe I pranked you too hard. Like maybe I really ought to be more delicate with my current friendships. And not just kind of treat and again, it sounds like she's kind of stepped on people in the past and been a little bit caution to the wind with her friendships, So yeah, no, it's a good point. Totally. I didn't really think about that in this episode.
But you see it. I mean, throughout the whole episode, she's constantly just like, hey, that's enough, guys. Like, let's not do that. Oh, why'd you kick him off, the big ledge or whatever? Like,
but past Marceline probably was the one kicking people off of ledges,
Maybe so. But she is also the daughter of the ruler of the Nightosphere.
Yeah, ruler of the Nightosphere, which did lead me. And I wanted to see if other fans caught up on this. She's like, this is my gang I used to run with in the underworld, not the nightosphere. So I'm like, is Marceline been a part
Is that
or
where
visit?
death was?
Yeah, that's what I would assume is it's referencing some sort of dead world, or one of the dead worlds, so that Marceline has been to or can traverse the dead worlds, maybe.
So maybe we need to confirm when we take our commercial. We're not doing it yet, but when we do, we'll look into the underworld and see if that's a different thing from the other worlds, the nightosphere.
No, I
and
mean,
then
I pretty much know. I
The
mean,
dead
like I
world.
know there's
Okay.
the dead worlds and there's the nightosphere and there's 50 dead worlds, but I don't think there's one that's called the underworld. So I've got
Yeah.
no idea. Like maybe we'll look into
Perhaps
it, but
the underworld is just another name for, like the black market or the like
oh yeah, that's true.
evil, underworld of Gotham.
Yeah,
sort
and
of
there
thing.
are. I mean, we see in future episodes that when you're in a dead world and you do try to communicate with somebody in the physical world, you show up as a little blue ghost. It doesn't matter like what dead world you're in.
Oh,
So
that's
I think
cool.
that her friends are in the dead world and then just kind of traversing into the ooh world. That's kind of their like, what do you call it? Corporeal forms.
You think so? But their physical forms, they were able to actually kick and to suck the guts out through their brains and stuff.
Yeah, there is an episode.
I think they're just ghosts.
I'm not gonna. This is not a spoiler, but there's an episode where there's like a ghost fly, and the fly just has it's like a little fly, but it has a little like bed sheet over it. And it can go through Finn and Jake, but it can also harm them. Like it has a little scythe, and it can like cut things in the physical world. So there is some sort of like transverse, ghostly figure to physical world type mentality.
Okay.
But I don't know why they like to suck guts out. That seems odd,
I don't know. Maybe it's just like how Marceline she can't help herself but prank Finn and Jake. She did this in so many different episodes. I feel like we learned our lesson about pranking. And here at the end, when the rock, paper, scissors thing happens, she's just like, Finn, Jake, I'm sorry I got you into this. I should have never pranked you so perfectly.
Yeah.
But she's still kind of like
she's still bragging on herself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
like I said, she's got that Dom energy this episode, man. I don't know.
Are we just learning about Russell's sexual kinks in this episode?
No, it's just playing into it for the podcast. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Playing into it.
I love it. Maybe we should end and take a quick break on sexual kinks over here.
Oh, wow. Is that my DJ name?
DJ Sexual Kinks.
Ned, you need to be more vulnerable on this podcast.
It's all canon. It's all canon, right?
You need to cry and be more vulnerable. All right, we'll talk to y'all after the break.
Oh, Lord, have mercy. Hi, y'all. It's Ruby Sue, and I'm here to tell you about Red Ruby Wednesdays, all-you-can-eat Wednesday buffets. For only $7.99 every Wednesday night, you can come on down to the all-you-can-eat buffet of all red items to get your succulent red sucking on. We've got red apples, we got red licorice, we got red steaks, and we even got red on red on red. You don't even know about that. I'll tell you that right there. Wednesday nights, kids eat free, adults eat all-you-can-eat, $7.99. So come on down to Red Ruby Wednesdays and come see me, Ruby Sue, to get your all-you-can-eat red buffet on now. Come and get it, hun.
Ned, we went that whole time. There was a really fun, cool, special guest voice actor this episode, and we didn't even talk about him.
Tell me about him.
Did you catch it, or did you have to look it up? I got to know.
I caught it. I never looked up the name. I just know it's Kevin from The Office.
It is Kevin from The Office. What is his actual name? I'm going to mess this up. Brian Baumgartner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally probably missed that pronunciation.
No, that's right. That's right.
Well, anyways, dude, I was just listening to the episode. I'm like, man, gosh, that sounds just like Kevin. It's got to be. And when I looked it up and got it, I was happy about that. That's a good get. I'm excited to see people like that at that level, even if that's not like the highest tier of voice actor you could get. But it's a really cool voice actor.
Yeah, and this had
cool
to
that
be,
he came on the show.
This had to be during The Office or at least right after it,
Oh, definitely. So he was, it was a good get, and it was like of the right time period for that too.
Oh yeah, and you would know that everybody that had just been watching The Office during all this time would be like, oh my gosh, that's definitely Kevin.
Yeah, it's got to be. Well,
I
man,
know. Well, there's some other fun facts in this episode that are
get into
that
the
are
fun
like
facts.
the sneak. Well, there's sneaky ones, and you just like you wouldn't know from references and everything. But you know, when the ghosts are doing their ghostly chant, and like spinning in the circle and everything, it's actually one of those things that if you play it backwards, it's saying something. And the director's was a message to the creative director, Pat McHale, who I guess was leaving the show at the time. So backwards, it says, "Farewell, Pat. Good luck in New York. Come back soon." And that's what they were chanting backwards. So I thought that was really cool.
Man, where's Pat going?
I don't. Apparently to New York.
Well, I know, but why is what I meant.
Who knows? They're probably working on another show. Pat,
probably
if you want to get on the podcast and give us your Adventure Time, you know,
let's get Pat back in Adventure Time.
Let's get Pat back into Adventure Time. No, there was some interesting also ghost references in this one. That the female ghost being named Wendy is possibly a nod to Casper the Friendly Ghost, and his best friend was a good little witch named Wendy.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one-faced male ghost, Georgie, is a possible nod to Georgie the Ghost, a character in the series of the children's book by Robert Bright. So some cool ghost references. And then Boo Boo, who I guess is
probably a reference
to Boo Berries.
Yeah, Boo Berries. Definitely, that's what it is.
That's definitely what it is. Another one is that this episode was originally titled Blood Drive, which was referring to the address when they go to the ghost house. It was 25 Blood Drive.
Pretty great address. Oh, yeah, I made a note of that.
Yeah,
man. Well, we had more talk about vampires in this episode than ghosts, though. You know,
we did. It was more about vampire powers than the ghosts themselves.
But it's funny that Finn and Jake really they just wanted to be able to float. It didn't really matter how they were able to float, but becoming a vampire seemed like the quickest, most rational way to do that. Marceline, we insist you turn us into vampires.
It was a quick discussion too. Like, oh my gosh, we talked about how Finn had developed in this season and not jumped into things so whimsically. And then it just like, dude, I feel like we just like totally regressed back to season 1 Finn. I was like, Marceline, turn us into vampires.
This could affect the rest of my life. Please, let's do this right now. I just need to solve this one problem I have.
And it happens. It happens as soon as they get turned into vampires. Then they're like, she's like, do you crave blood? And Finn's like, oh my gosh, are we going to crave blood? Am I going to become evil? And Jake's like, if I become evil, I'll have to wear cologne.
Yeah. Well, it does beg the question, does evil smell, Ned?
I mean, if vampires are technically dead, but I don't know, evil people don't shower. Maybe that's the lesson here.
So, yeah, that's what I wrote in my notes. Maybe villains don't shower.
Maybe villains.
I do have a segment that I think people would love.
Okay.
Top 5, Russell's top 5 smelliest villains.
Okay, give me your smelly villains.
All right. Number 5, the Ice King. Let's start with an Adventure Time character. Yeah. He's hanging out with penguins.
Pizza in the hamper. Spaghetti
Ain't
in the
hamper.
He's
showering. Yeah, no moldy pizza, spaghetti. Ice King's got to have a stench about himself.
Yeah, and all the water in the Ice Kingdom would be frozen, so he can't shower. Boom, done.
Gross. Number 4, the Dirty Bubble from SpongeBob.
Stinky if you're on the inside, for sure.
On the inside, and I will say he's number 4 because he's just dirt. You know, like dirt doesn't really smell, but dirty is as a descriptor, as an adjective or whatever. Definitely describes.
He definitely looks like a
smelly
bubble
person.
Yeah.
So he's smelly. He deserves to be on the list. Number 3, Venom. Venom's an alien. He's slime. There's just everything about that screams I smell to me.
Okay.
I don't know if like Peter Parker's ever been like, oh, Venom, you stink, bro. Take a shower. Maybe. I don't know. But number 2, the Creeper from Scooby-Doo. He looks like a smelly man. You don't know that? Dude, come on. That's Scooby-Doo. Where are you? Number 1, Danny DeVito's Penguin.
That's a good boy. Number 1. That's a good number. I would have outranked maybe number 3. I would have replaced Venom with Oscar the Grouch from Sesame Street.
Oh, but is he a villain?
As far as Sesame Street goes.
Yeah, that's fair. He lives in a trash can. No, the Cookie Monster.
The Cookie Monster.
the Cookie Monster. I don't know why I gave him when I said his name, I had like a little bit of an accent. Yeah.
But yes, Oscar the
anyways,
Grouch
top
definitely
5
smells.
smelliest villains. What'd you say?
I said
Yeah.
Oscar the Grouch definitely smells for sure.
Definitely. That's a good one.
I don't know, man. Well, in terms, I know you kind of hit on some deeper stuff. But like what I got some vibes in this one that, made me feel away.
Oh, what way are you feeling?
Well, just in that sense that the ghost in this episode and kind of the way they treat Finn and Jake, and a little bit of the way that Marceline treats Finn and Jake this episode, is that it kind of has that whole classic high school movie vibe of like, hey, let's befriend the nerd and invite the nerd into our group. And then the whole time our plan was to like make fun of them. And I know
totally
Marceline's way of doing it is harmless, and maybe she's like the person in the high school movie that's just like, but wait a minute, guys, the nerds are actually like really cool people. Like we shouldn't be mean to them anymore. Like, but it definitely gave off that high school movie vibe.
It's just not original. It's not a very original trope, or the episode itself, the idea for the episode. Like it's always a great trope. Like I think I always enjoy these type of episodes and cartoons and shows when you see them. But it's something that almost every cartoon has had an episode of. This is the idea behind it. We're hanging out with this kid for a reason, not because we actually enjoy them, but because of,
ulterior
situation.
Yeah.
I tell you what, man, it does remind me, gosh, I think we talked about this in the past a little bit. We're just going to get a little personal, but I'll try not to go too deep into this because it's a little bit of an aside, but kind of the culture of that I don't enjoy, of like that Christian like thing at UGA where it felt like people were hanging out with you sometimes because they felt like they needed to. If you were like not like a sympathy case, but you know what I'm talking about? Like I definitely had a couple of people where I was like, man, I don't think you really like me. I think you're just hanging out with me because you feel like it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, you're being the good person and therefore you're hanging out with me.
It doesn't only happen in Christian cultures. I don't want to just put that on us, but this is my personal experience of feeling like, oh, maybe I don't belong in this group. I really want to be a part of this group. And I feel like they accept me and hang out with me because of that reason. And it wasn't all my friends, and it wasn't, this was like specific instances. Or I saw other kids where I had a friend group and we were inviting them in, and I was like, hey, that's great and all, but like, they're not like our best bro, and we're going to do something like that should just be best bros doing that thing, and it always felt odd to me. It felt a little bit fake. And it's that trope. It's that thing. And maybe that's why you see it all the time, because it is so relatable. Everybody's been there. Everybody's felt like they didn't belong, or they were kind of just being strung along, or you've been in the situation where you had someone that was happening to, and you felt like, oh, I don't want to not hang out with this person because that's rude. But at the same time, like, I don't think I'm ever going to be best friends with this person later on.
Yeah, well, at least Finn and Jake, I know, weren't going into it to be friends or to join the group. They just, again, wanted to have the powers.
It's not Finn and Jake's fault at all. It's the ghosts. Is what I'm getting at. It's like the ghosts are at fault there. They're the people that are bringing these people on just to mess with them. Like it's an insincere, oh, you're our friend. Oh, let's hang out with you. It's a prank taken too far in this episode, but it certainly falls underneath what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, the insane thing is I don't even think it was ever a prank with the ghosts in general. I think, first of all, they're just assholes. And second of all, like, Marcy's going to prank Finn and Jake because she just does that. That's like her. She thinks it's fun. They think it's funny too, like when she does a good prank. But the ghosts, I think from the beginning, were like, oh, Marcy has these people coming over, like we're going to suck their brains out for sure. And that led to my second deep thought, was like, if these are ghosts, they had to have been alive at some point, right? You could maybe assume. And like, how long would they have to have been detached from humanity to just be like, we're going to suck their brains out and we're going to kill them? Like, you have to be detached from like the living. And you remember how all the other dead people in the dead worlds were like so envious of life. And they were like, give me your flesh. I want to be alive again. And these
Were
ghosts
they
are just
trying to be
like,
alive again, or were they just hungry for flesh?
I think they were just hungry.
You
Like
don't
they
know what
didn't
you're doing
have
to me,
this.
man. Or
And so I'm
guy.
like, they must be like really detached
Just so
from
detached.
the
Interesting.
living and what life is and stuff like that.
But
They
were
were
they
just willing to
even humans? Or, they could be just some sort of
Yeah, they
sentient being that happens to have a soul or a spirit or whatever, that when it died, it became a ghost.
Yeah, and that's exactly my thought with like maybe they weren't maybe they were just totally tree spirits or something weird like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. That's really fascinating, man. I wish I had a good comeback for that, because I feel like it makes sense to me. I don't know why they're so gung ho about it. Maybe
Yeah.
it's been 1,000 years, and at this point, they're like, well, if you die, you just go somewhere else. Like we have the fleshed out. We don't have heaven,
Yeah, and
really, but
that's
we have a very fleshed out. Like, this is what happens to you after you die, potentially,
yeah.
sort
So
of a thing.
you
So
don't
the
really
stakes are
feel
less,
dead.
maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't really feel dead if you're still like sentient in an afterlife, and so that they don't really see that like killing Finn and Jake's that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's just like another one of us, like whatever. But when
Exactly.
you're
Like
a human
we
or
think
when
it's
you're
funny
alive, you hold
to
on
see
to
these.
life.
Yeah, and we just think it's funny to see like brains get sucked out of someone's head, and then they just move on to the next dead world or whatever. So that's why I was like, dude, these ghosts are just so like like out in another universe.
Man, there's a Billy and Mandy episode, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Did you ever watch that as a kid?
No, that one was one of those ones that I don't think I was gonna be allowed to watch, and then second of all, I think I was probably too freaked out by weird stuff to even like it.
My mom loved that show, so we were very much able
Of
to watch
anything.
that. There's an episode where there's a alien meteorite spirit slug thing that eats brains, and it's just like such a like really fun, like beboppy, jazzy, bluesy song happening the entire time. The whole episode. I think the episode's like a musical type thing. Dang, I got to rewatch that. I wasn't planning on talking about it, so I don't have it, but I'm sure the travelers know what I'm talking about when I'm saying like Billy basically doesn't have a brain, and so one of the main characters doesn't have a brain, and so the dude's just like, "Hey, help me like get other people. We're gonna hang out and have a party. Like, bring them." And then he eats their brains by like going in through their ears. But yeah, random. Sorry,
Same thing.
no
No,
tangents.
no,
No
you can't
tangents.
eat a brain if you don't have a brain.
Exactly. But anyways, it just reminded me. Just right now talking about it reminded me of this episode. No tangents.
No tangents. We don't tangent on this show.
No.
Oh man, my last thing in terms of trying to piece together kind of all how quickly this episode went was Finn's got the heat signature movie, right? They obviously have found a lot of these movies from a past world because we've seen it referenced twice in this season so far. But the movie has humans in it, right? And so I'm trying to figure out if Finn has just come to terms that he's the last human and he doesn't worry about like a whole society of other humans.
Yeah, but what about Susan? We've met Susan.
But that's why he was enamored with Susan. He was so pumped to meet her and have connection with another human. But
well, you
it's
think
so funny
he'd see this and be super into it.
That's
yeah,
what I
mean,
thought.
wow.
I thought he'd be like, "Oh my gosh, these are other humans. Like, let me
Let's
learn
learn
more
about 'em."
about human." And again, it's just unless he's just come to terms and he's just totally content with the fact that all humans died and I'm the last one, and that's it. I'm done.
God damn. You think he'd be watching all these movies, no matter what the copyright thing says. He'd be
to try to figure out what happened. I don't. Again,
the culture, just everything. Yeah, wow.
And so I don't know, maybe that's just a nod to Finn to being like, dude, just way to own it. Way to own just being cool with being the last human and being like, yep, there's other humans in these old movies, but it's cool. I'm the last one. I'm cool with that,
I do want to see more of the existential crisis Finn, though. That Susan Strong episode was so good. Definitely going to be in my top 10. We'll see when I rewatch everything if it's in my top 5 or not. But I liked Finn in that episode. I liked the questions he was asking. I wish he would have done that with this episode. If there had been a moment where he go, like maybe Jake is like, F this, just kill me now. This movie's terrible. And then maybe Finn was like, no, I need to see this. This is important.
I think it's kind of fun to see. I mean, you see it with Susan Strong, and then you do see it again in the Islands miniseries that, those are the moments where Finn really feels that connection with the humanity and the existential crisis there. Everything else in the show, though, I feel like really is Finn being very introspective in terms of all of his existential moments really have to do with who am I as a personality, not as a human or a dog or a whatever. It's way more of like, who am I becoming? And is that good? Is that a good thing of like what I'm becoming? And that's where all of his existential crises lie, in my opinion.
Man, I can only imagine he's going to have a lot more as he gets older and older. Just thinking about our lives and where we're at and how often like we have moments of doubt or existential crisis or whatever, or have I made the right decisions with my life? Like you come to these crossroads and all that. And Finn is in a situation where there's no way it doesn't, like, he's going to need a therapist. The dude's going to need and with his parents too. Like he has so many issues that at some point when he hits that level of maturity, he goes through his growth spurt or whatever, and he stops having that like blissful childlike like glimmer about life as we all did when we were younger.
The innocence factor.
The innocence. Once that goes away, I just can only imagine how Finn's going to be like come the later seasons of the show. And even that's not very late into his life, but it's late enough. In high school, we were all angsty and we all were like, oh, if only I wasn't, I ran away or whatever. We all had those feelings at some point or another.
Yeah, and for Finn, and this is without going, into spoiler territory, it always happens with Finn. And I think a lot of the growth with him happens when other people around him start to get hurt, due to his actions or due to something that he was involved in, and other people are getting hurt. Then he really starts having existential crises on, am I good? What am I doing wrong? Like, is being good even like, there's a great episode called like The Eyes where Finn begins to see, he gets cursed and he gets these cursed eyes and he begins to see when he looks at somebody and who he thinks of that person, like what he thinks of that person, that's what they become. And he has this really big crisis moment where he hates himself because the people, and he's like, is that how I see you? He keeps seeing PB this way and Jake this way and Shelby this way. And he thinks he's shallow just because of that. And Jake talks him out of it. It's a really great episode between Finn and Jake too,
and it's also not called The Eyes. Y'all can tweet at us.
Oh, it's not The Eyes. That's the one with the horse. Oh shoot!
Hashtag NEA podcast. Tell us what that episode is. Also, tell us which one of us, me or Ned, is a vampire. I'm curious what y'all think.
I think it's Russell.
You're
Russell.
more pale than I am.
That's true.
Actually, I don't know if that's true or not. I got that Irish paleness to me.
You got the Irish freckles that covers it up.
Yeah.
I got this. I got the Scottish pale.
Yeah. I don't know. Which one of us is a vampire?
I got the genetic pale. I got the pale because it's from Scotland and we all just sit inside all day, right?
There you go.
There's no sunshine in Scotland.
Yeah. Well, man, that sounds like a good episode. I'm excited to get to that one day.
That one's a really fun one. But man, that's about all. I got tops. I got all the LSP. Got my lovelies. Shoot, man. I would even just say I got one more. It's my Jake mistake.
Making big pancakes.
Oh, there you go.
In my Jake
mistake. What's wrong with Jake? What'd he do?
Dude, first of all, he's terrified of vampires. We know this. He's absolutely.
But it's just Marceline.
But he's so, and it's not just terror. He's like creeped out by them. So why would he want to become one? Again, if you were terrified of spiders, would you want to become a spider and live with spiders?
Hey, Ned, if you can't beat them, join them. That's what Batman did. He's afraid of bats, and he became a Batman.
It throws me off that Jake has no hesitation about it, because this is such a big thing that they instilled in Jake, that he hates vampires and is so freaked out. It doesn't even think twice. They don't even mention this part of Jake. So I feel like it was just a writer's mistake, a Jake mistake. Second, to like piggyback on that, he's got stretchy powers. Like, why the hell would he need floaty flying powers if you can again, I don't know.
It's different. Like, I think this segment is becoming Russell is the devil's advocate to Ned's.
But no, that's
Jake
exactly
mistake.
what it is right now. Because like I just was like, dude,
I
just
can't
the
help it. I can't help
inconsistencies
it.
with Jake, and yeah, I mean, it'd be cool to fly. Anybody could think that, but like, there was two. That's two good reasons why Jake would have talked Finn out of this, and they just have a 2-second whisper, and they're like, "Yep, we want to float." And I was like, "No, that's inconsistent." Like Jake needed to be the one that pushed back, and then caved, and then it was like, "Okay, cool. I guess we'll become vampires, whatever." Even that would have been a cooler way to set it up.
But I do like the idea of, embrace your fears and become the
Batman.
I don't know. I think in the last like 3 or 4 episodes, I've taken your Jake mistake and I've just been like, and with good reason in my mind, no, I don't.
You just want a devil advocate's my Jake mistake.
But, to be fair, back, we created this podcast because we had a lot of like long, deep conversations about nothing over drinks and pizza and whatnot. A lot of those would be like, hey, I have an idea. And then the other person being like, my idea is different, though we have so much in common, Ned. It's like our principles and our values and all that are so similar, but at the same time, like we are able and willing to take criticism. And so I don't mean to just not down your segment.
I don't take offense to it at all because
yeah. Well, I'm bringing it then next season. Next season, I'm bringing it.
It's fun though. I think that we would have those conversations and play devil's advocate just to help to make you defend your point. Yeah,
well, I think we would just get the conversation deeper and deeper. I mean, next season, all I'm saying is like I'm going to have Ned mistakes. Is going to be my new segment. Like
Ned mistakes, making Ned mistakes,
slapping Ned's pancakes.
Ned's pancakes.
I can't do that. We're virtual now. I used to be able to do that.
Yeah, he would just slap my hams all day.
No, I never did that. No, I had to think for a second there. I don't think I have. I've never had the desire to. Here's the issue with the podcast. Who am I becoming? This is not who I am.
Becoming?
Was it this episode or last episode? This episode. Oh, dang it. Pervy. No, it was last episode.
Come on, man. That's pervy.
Mrs. Poundcake.
That's pervy, Russell.
This is bad. Can we end this episode? What are your lessons?
Give me
what are your lessons?
My lessons is, first of all, ghosts can beat vampires in rock, paper, scissors or whatever.
That's fair. I think
Ghost,
we all
vampire,
that.
Bill Murray. We'll call it that game.
My lesson is that vampire rules are super loose.
Yeah.
It feels like they're just all over the place. And not just in this episode, but just in media. Is there a definitive vampire? Maybe that's what I need to look into this week.
Yes, there is. But don't look into it too deep because you'll spoil
Dracula.
You'll spoil the Stakes miniseries.
No, not
you're going to look into like old school lore, like D&D.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like
lore.
Vampire lore seems to be all over the place depending on the media.
Yeah, well, no, but go along probably with like a D&D vampire lore because, Penn Ward's a big D&D guy.
That's true. Good point.
I think he would stick with vampire lore. And then, but Marceline's probably seems more inconsistent because she's got the demon aspect about her too. So it kind of fits both sides of that coin.
I just love that she sucks out of her fang. Like all she needs is one fang on you to suck the color out of you. Very fascinating.
Yeah, that's true. But second lesson, man, be wary of who you're hanging out with and their true intentions. Just keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah, trust your gut. I think a lot of times you can tell, and trying to detach yourself or being willing to detach yourself from like, man, I really want to be their friend. I think that was my issue sometimes, or in the certain situation that I was referring to in college, where I was like, man, I really love these guys. I want to like be one of the bros, and I never felt truly like I fit in. Yeah. And were they using me? I don't think so, but certainly I felt like I got invited to things sometimes because it was the way of our community. Yeah, and I don't think that was necessarily healthy.
Well, and it was like, again, in that kind of instance, you were so enamored with being part of the community that, I mean, there's a possible that you just kind of blinded yourselves to like, do I want to hang out with them?
Yeah,
more like, do I want to be part of this community? But then all of a sudden be like, I don't know, if they're being like this, then I don't know,
Yeah, true.
And the last lesson was restrain yourself from pranking if you realize it's going to hurt somebody. That's a good one. Point. Pretty simple. What about you,
Good
man?
point.
What's the
Man,
lessons?
I don't have any other lessons. It's just vampire rules are hella loose.
Hella loose.
I do have a rec, though.
Oh, okay, give me your rec.
Have you listened to the new Red Hot Chili Peppers album?
Like the newest one, like from like 2016, newest one?
Duh, the one that just came out.
Oh,
like
no, I
last
haven't.
Friday.
No.
Ned, we're going to the concert. They're touring, and we bought tickets for August.
I know. I didn't know they. I didn't know they came out. I've been busy.
You're a bad fan. You're a bad fan, dude.
Well, hey, Jackie's the mega fan. You need to talk to her about it.
All right. Well, she's a new mega fan because she fell in love with Dark Necessities, but or at least that was my understanding of her fandom. And then also Lally, obviously, our other friend whose last name we're not going to have to beep out because I'm not going to say it because I'm not Ned.
Yeah, sorry about those beeps and that.
So honestly, it kind of sucks because their social media is like, people could look people up. Like, don't do that. That's not cool, man. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Unlimited Love. It came out at this point where we're recording this. It came out last Friday, and it didn't hit super hard at first. It took me a couple listens through. I think I'm probably 4 listens through of the album. This is my favorite band, so of course I'm wanting to fall in love with this album. But it is really good. They're like 50 years old. They're older, like they've been around. Everybody knows the Chili Peppers because they've had mega hits. They were an international huge band ever since Blood Sugar Sex Magic and of course Californication. And by the way, those records and Stadium Arcadium. And I wanted it to be like Stadium Arcadium. It wasn't quite that, but it was similar enough in a way. And it's John Frusciante, the legendary guitar player, child prodigy, turned Red Hot Chili Peppers, left the band, came back, left the band again, and now he's back again for the second time.
Pulled a Brett Favre on him over there.
He shreds. Yeah. Dude, here's my recommendations for songs. If you're looking to get into this album, She's a Lover. Great song, very funky. Poster Child, same thing. Very Poster Child harks back to like early Chili Peppers, which I dig. Here Ever After and Let 'Em Cry are like the 4 songs that aren't quite the like main singles, even though Poster Child is one of the singles. Really dig it. Check it out if you're interested. I don't know.
All right.
What's your rec?
My rec is Korean barbecue.
No. Okay.
That is my rec, man.
Cool.
As I'm sure everybody is familiarized with Korean barbecue in the sense that it's an all-you-can-eat. They bring you all the meats. But man, I had some Uber Eats Korean barbecue tonight. Kimchi fried rice with bulgogi beef on top, with cheese on top, and seaweed wrapped spring rolls. Oh my Lanta. It was awesome. So my recommendation is some fire Korean barbecue from down on Buford Highway in Atlanta. It's the bomb.
I'm shaking my head because Ned is just totally bastardizing this segment. Ned, you just admitted
you didn't say band recommendation. You didn't say video game recommendation. You said recommendations. And my recommendations is go patronize your local Korean barbecue restaurant.
If it's like, yeah. All right. Anyways, if it's making your life better, and sure,
it is making my life significantly better.
It's enhancing your life.
It's
for the rec segment.
It is enhancing my soul.
You just happened to eat it tonight, so it feels a little bit like you're phoning it in, like I have my lovelies for the past 2 weeks.
I didn't phone this one in because I had some Korean barbecue a couple weeks ago. It was schmeh. I wouldn't have recommended it. Tonight was like flavor profiles, like off the wall, off the chain.
Okay.
I'm about it.
If you're not a sponsor, if you happen to be in this area of Georgia and you're looking for Korean barbecue and you love this podcast, go there, tell them we sent you. We will get nothing from it.
Yeah, you'll get 10% off of your drive home.
No, we can't promise that. Can't promise that.
Right,
thank you, listeners. Thank you for checking us out.
Give them a quick, where can they follow? Neverendingeverything.com.
Yeah. Oh, that's not what it is, but it is Instagram at Neverending Adventure Podcast, TikTok at Neverending Adventure Cast, Twitter at NEA_podcast. Email us at NEA.travelerslog@gmail.com. We've had a couple really good ones, and we want to keep that segment going. We've got a bunch of people listening every week. Send us your thoughts. Let's get some season 2 thoughts in, and we can discuss it in season 3. No, nothing wrong with that, or if we do a special or something, we'll see. But yeah, man, thanks so much for checking us out. If you are trying to get a sticker and you haven't yet, send us a little review ski. Send us a snapshot of a review ski from Apple Podcast app, which is on your phone if you got an Apple phone. It's real quick, real easy, takes no time at all, and you get a never-ending adventure sticker. And we love you guys. 2 seasons of this podcast.
2 seasons.
The bank, bro.
Two brothers, 2 seasons.
We're not brothers, but I can tell you this. Well, I mean, we're brothers, but just not in like the literal sense.
Not literal.
No.
But figurative.
My friends, fellow travelers, please listen to me. You must go and party forever.
And I love you guys. Okay, bye. I love you.